Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for another DC comic review, and this time I'll be reviewing some Robert Venditti, Superman 78 issue 2, and of course Philip Kennedy Johnson, issue 1035 of Action Comics Superman. And my goodness, these are some pretty incredible issues here, and you know what, I'm glad they're both not in the Fool's Gold category. I really am. So it's time to get started on the first comic that we'll be covering first, which is Superman 78. So first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to anything that happens inside the story? Well, guess what? It does. And because of that, I give it a straight 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the internal art, which I'll be able to show you some of the things in it, to which we'll have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course, the end. Now, this is some of the art around the beginning. What happens on the left-hand side happens in Uptown Metropolis. Alright, now it's time to move towards the middle. And in here, around the middle, we've got Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And of course the Daily Planet. Now to jump towards the end. And last but not least, the art towards the end. Now, one thing I want to point out, the art in this wasn't that super flash. But you know what? Did it really affect the story rating? We'll find out. But first of all, I gotta give you the art rating, to which I gave the art a 6.5 out of 10. It's not very high, but I do think it could have been cleaned up a lot better. So, moving into the story rating. Let's look at the things that I personally enjoy in my stories. Did we get any references? Like maybe anything in relation to the previous issue? No, but did it affect the story rating? Not much. Did we get any time references? No, we didn't. Did it affect the story rating? Not really. Locations, we got Uptown Metropolis, we got the Daily Planet. We also got different parts of Metropolis in town. The cast of characters were made up of Lex Luthor, Superman, Brainiac, of course Lois and Clark, to which we already know Superman is already Clark. We had Perry, and last but not least, Jimmy Olsen, who made an appearance. We also had Brainiac as well, who made his appearance. And it was really interesting as to what was actually happening in the story. I thought the story was pretty clear to follow. Even though it might not have worked so much with the art, I did actually enjoy how the story went. Because in this issue, Superman does go to Lex Luthor for some help. We learn that Lex Luthor has like an area where he's already beginning to make his own suit of sorts, as he begins to work on the head of the android which Superman gave to him. And as he begins to work on it, we get the dramatic appearance of the mothership to which Brainiac is on. And as this begins to happen, Brainiac makes his next move. He ends up trying to attack some of the citizens. Superman says, "Don't target the citizens. If you're after anyone, come after me." And in that, you see him make a bit of a sacrificial move like in a game of chess. And for that, I gave this story a 7 out of 10. Thank you very much, Robert Venditti. I'm looking forward to when your next comic comes out after this series, which is The World of Krypton. So until then, it's time to move on to the next comic. Okay. Now it's time to move on to Philip Kennedy Johnson's Action Comics Superman. And my goodness, is there quite a bit happening here, including everything we sort of got in what to expect in the story. And starting with first things first, with the cover and the cover rating. Does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to anything that happens inside of the story? Sure enough, it does. I do want to point out that I will not be covering the Tales of Metropolis, just to make that loud and clear. To which I gave this cover art a 7.5 out of 10. Now we'll move into the internal art. So here we go with some of the internal art. I must admit, I really liked what was done here. I'll now move to around the middle of the story. And this is some art around the middle of the story. And as you can see, we've got Mongol on Warworld. And last but not least, time to move towards the end. Absolutely beautiful picture here. And then last but not least, someone sleeping in their bed alone. So, jumping into the art rating, the art in this was actually pretty good and it felt pretty consistent. To which I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Moving into the next thing, the story rating. First things first, did we get any comic references? Surprisingly, we do, but it's a comic reference to an upcoming comic story, which is Batman Superman The Authority issue 1. And I don't know if I want to pick that up or not, but it'll be interesting to see how that story goes. In regards to time, we got 2 days later and also later. Moving into location, we of course had the Fortress of Solitude and of course Warworld. And this is taking place after the events of what happened in the previous issue. The cast of characters consisting of Superman, Lois, Superboy, Tao-La, Mongol, Calyx, the Justice League, and we can't forget Batman. Now, one thing I sort of disliked in this was John's attitude in regards to Batman. It didn't feel like it fit right. But then again, could it be that we're still seeing a young 10-year-old John in a 17-year-old body? Or is it someone or something else? For the story rating, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Well, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.